88.5, the voice of SCS. Good morning, everybody. Paul Gabala with you. Excuse me if I was a little preoccupied because I was looking at this wonderful, wonderful book, Red Grooms, Traveling Correspondent. And, well, I'll tell you what, we've got a special guest in here to talk about that and an exhibit. It's called the Red Grooms, Traveling Correspondent. It's an exhibition that's happening at Brooks. Yes, indeed. At the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art. And with us, I should say. See, I'm all thrilled about this. Is the chief curator, Marina Pacini. Good morning, Miss Pacini. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. I'm having a ball installing this fantastic exhibition that I think Memphians, Shelby Countyans, everybody from the region is going to love coming to see.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the pictures that I've been looking at and going through the book because they are fascinating. But first of all, tell us, for folks that may not know, Red Grooms, who is this guy?
Well, one of the reasons that we chose him for our centennial exhibition as the primary exhibition is that Red was born in Nashville, and he lived there until he was about 19 years old. In 1957, he moved to New York and became over a period of time, an internationally recognized artist. Now, the thing is, though, that Red never left Nashville and Tennessee behind. In fact, he and his wife built a house south of Nashville, and they go there every summer. So he's somebody who's, as I said, internationally recognized, but still deeply connected to the state of Tennessee. He makes art that's very accessible, that, little kids and everybody up to artists and collectors really appreciate. His art is very easy to understand. It's fun. It's exciting, and I think he's somebody who's going to appeal widely to our community.
I was going to say, and very, very colorful. I mean, that's the first thing that just attracts you to the painting.
Well, and I want to use that word painting carefully because he works in a lot of different media.
Okay.
No, you're absolutely right. His colors, the application of paint, his use of paint's important. But one of the things that's so fun about Red is that he works in a variety of different media. So, for example, we have a 20-foot bus that he created. It's a New York Transit bus that you can climb onto, and the seats are filled with a variety of different passengers, reflecting the diversity of New York City and, frankly, most of the world. And you can actually go sit down on that bus with those characters. We've got 9 characters from the Foxtrot Carousel, Tennessee Foxtrot Carousel from Nashville that some people may remember was installed downtown, and you could pay $1.50 and ride that carousel. All of those figures were historical, important figures to the history of Tennessee. So, for example, there's William Edmondson, the first African-American sculptor who had a one-person show at the Museum of Modern Art in 1937. There's Anne Dallas Dudley, who's extremely important in getting the 19th Amendment, which was what allowed women to get the vote. Tennessee was the state that pushed the number of states that ratified the amendment over the top so that it became the law of the land. And Anne Dallas Dudley was one of the people involved in that. And he does this really fun image of her where she looks like she's covered in bunting, and there's a voting box in front of her, and the whole thing's just really very fun. So it's paintings, it's reliefs, it's films, it's prints, it's installation, it's sculpture, it's everything.
Portraits, is that a big thing?
He does a lot of portraits. But one of the things, the reason that the exhibition's called Traveling Correspondent is that he has this amazing ability to go to places and sort of absorb everything that's important about it and then distill it into a portrait of the place. And I think one of the things we're really excited about is that we commissioned Red to do a piece about Memphis and the Mississippi River. And it's going to be unveiled in the exhibition, which opens October 15th. And he did an amazing job of spending 4 days in the city. He'd been here once or twice as a boy. He rode his bike from Nashville when he was about 16 years old. But he really hadn't spent time here. And he produced a piece that is amazing. It encapsulates so much of what's important about the city. Needless to say, the Mississippi River is huge, but there's the Lisa Marie, there's Isaac Hayes' Solid Gold Cadillac, the sanitation strikers, the Peabody Hotel. So, really managed to capture a panoply of events and individuals associated with our history.
Oh my gosh, and that's going to be something, and it'll be unveiled during the exhibition, which begins on the 15th of October, right?
Yes.
And will run through January of 2017. Well, January next year.
January 8th.
January.
Absolutely.
Wow, fantastic. Well, I'm glad you brought the book, Ann, just to let me understand. But it is, I can see where people of all ages will be really, like you said, the parents are going to have to pull the kids away from the museum.
Absolutely.
It's just that wonderful. I wouldn't put them in the same book as Norman Rockwell, but they sort of have that same initial effect of you going, oh, wow. And then you start looking at it a little bit.
One of the things that I think so great about Red is that he takes ordinary, everyday occurrences and transforms them into something bigger than life. One of the things that I talk about with him is that he is a natural-born storyteller who was raised within the Southern storytelling tradition, and he brings a lot of that background into the making of the work. They're really funny. He pushes the envelope and exaggerates things. Like, for example, there's this one Bluey where it's a storm, and there are all sorts of things you expect to see, umbrellas being blown inside out, but then there's a hot dog truck with weenies up, airborne all over the place. So it's really fun. But one of the things he's also doing is, through his art, he brings the diversity of the people who live in the city together in a single image, and it helps through humor to make all of us, sort of become more accepting of difference. So there is an undercurrent of he's trying to get at something bigger, social, but doing it through really fun means, rather than hitting anybody over the head with a pan. We've also got a room devoted to his filmmaking, and we're going to be showing he made Little Red Riding Hood, a version of Little Red Riding Hood with his daughter Saskia as Little Red Riding Hood. So there's a huge theater that you go into and sit down and watch Little Red Riding Hood. There's paper films. So, again, it's just all these different media and different forms of storytelling.
Marina Pacini, Chief Curator at Brooks Museum, thank you so much for joining us this morning and telling us this, and I can hardly wait. October 15th, it opens up. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Wonderful, wonderful. And folks, they brought in a book of Red Grooms there, of some of his work, and I will tell you, it is just wonderful. You will love it. Check it out.